This is the summary starting from the Ois Hey. Bilam says, "V'leira Omal b'Yisroel." So in context, that means he Hashem sees no perversion amongst the Jewish people. The Alter Rebbe then goes on to explain that the word Omal also means labor. And we explained that the level of Yaakov is the level of laboring within the physical world to identify its godliness. It's representative of the Avodah of the Sheshes Yemei HaMaisa, the 6 work days. That we have to have this battle to make sure that our Gashmius is used only for Ruchnius. As an example, we're not permitted to eat before davening because when we eat, we are engaging in taiva. How do we make sure that we utilize the food for the service of Hashem? And the answer is because we daven first, and thus we empower our humanity to be able to elevate that godliness. So in Yisroel, which is the level of Shabbos, where there is absolute alignment with the infinity of Hashem, like Shabbos itself means to be settled, that now we're not just getting a glimpse of godliness, but we're getting the essence of godliness, because Vayichal Elokim, the level of Elokim, which represents the obfuscation of godliness, has been completed. So he sees no amal, no battle, no labor on Shabbos. And then we went to point out that the word amal is similar to the word amalek. An amalek only can attack during the weekdays, but can never attack during Shabbos. And both are necessary. Just like you have to have the weekdays in order to have Shabbos, you have to have Yaakov in order to have Yisroel. You have to have the battle in order to have the Tainuk. You have to have the birur of the 6 weekdays so that you can come to the level of Shabbos where birur is prohibited. Then Bilam says, Utruas melech boy, in context, Rashi says it means they have the king's friendship. Another interpretation of that word Utruas means to be broken. And we went on to explain what is the difference or what is the similarity. How do these two go together? So we explained there's 2 aspects to a king. There's the level of the king that he makes the law. And that's the gevura quality of the king, that he breaks down injustice. And then there's the level of the glory of the king. And the glory of the king, there doesn't have to be law and compliance. There's instantaneous alignment. And this again represents the level of Shabbos and the level of weekday. The level of weekday, our neshama is trapped in our body. That's why our davening is a crying out to Hashem. And on Shabbos, our neshama is released, and therefore there is no crying out to Hashem. Shabbos imuliza. Then the Alter Rebbe on Famin Beis Amud Gimel starts a summary and talks about the idea that Yaakov is drawn down from the Yisroel of Abba. That the idea of Yaakov is to take the Yud, the loftiest levels of godliness, and bring it down to the Akev, to the heel. But that's the quality of Yaakov. So therefore, Lehibit Oven B'Yaakov, we don't see the Oven. Now, Oven in context means sin. There's other interpretations that suggest that the word Oven means Chachma. How could the two go together? Because Chachma could be hijacked by evil. So Lehibit Oven B'Yaakov means we don't see the Chachma of Hashem in the level of Yaakov. So Yaakov is about battle. But on Shabbos, there's no more laboring, there's no more battling, there's no more crying out. We have transformed darkness into light. We have elevated, so we're not about Yud Akev, taking the highest level and bringing it down to the feet, to the most natural insensitive. On the contrary, we're about elevating. And this is why the Jewish people are described as having battled with Elohim. They've already concluded that that's the level of Yisroel. They no longer have to battle with the concealment that's represented by Elohim. And we went on to describe that Yisroel is Sar Kale or Shir Kale, Shir as opposed to Shira. We have the concept of Shira Chadasha, which is the feminine approaching the masculine, which is this physical world reaching out to godliness for nourishment. Then we have this level of Shir Kale, where we are elevating the benefactor, not about overcoming struggle, simply about being elevated. Now we understand the alliance of these 2 interpretations of the same word. The word trua can mean broken, and the word trua can mean friendship. And when we break down the gvura, we no longer see it as thou shalt nots, and you have to, and you can't, and you may not, and you must. Rather, we see the essence of the king. We see that we are brought closer to the king thereby, and thus kept protected.